Nakame. No, Nakame means goodbye. I wanted to say hello. Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood was Armageddon. The Mud Flood. The great catastrophe that caused the mud flood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. As always, it's an honor to be joined by special guest, famous Randy from Wisconsin. You know him as RJ. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm getting along. Nothing to complain about. Thanks for the invite again.
My pleasure. And all the way from Vaara, the man who's made a special effort to get up early in the morning to bring his questions about, is there a loving God of the Bible? Vaara, welcome. How are you, man?
Whoa, I got an echo there. I forgot to close the YouTube window. Yeah, hey, what's up, guys? Nice to be here again, all the way from Finland. And no, I have not woken up. I'm still staying up late, 4 in the morning here.
Okay.
And that's just my routine, my style.
Well, are you as excited as I am that we're on show number 5? That to me, that's kind of like, wow, we're more than a month. Not much.
We're not even into Genesis chapter 3.
We haven't even scratched the surface, man. Wait until you see all of this. So I've told Vaara I'm only going to need a few minutes to go over some crazy things. RJ,
yeah,
what are we looking at here? What do you think that is? Kind of, does it look like
organized chaos?
Texas? Does it remind you of the Texas oil booms back when they were discovering how to drill oil? Well, they say this is 2,000 years old, and it's still up and running today. They still use this thing. I just couldn't believe it.
All right.
Amazingly, examples of these ancient
is still using today.
The sheer size of the ancient drilling machines was remarkable. Derricks, also known as heaven carts,
heaven carts. I don't got time for this. Hey, this alien disc, look at this. I just wanted Vaara to know, we're dealing with, these people that talk about things like this.
It's a prop?
Yeah, whatever they call it, but, they call it the Sabu disc. We could talk about this later. The Shy Stone, I wrote it down. I mentioned it yesterday. It's all about the body. It's all about the body parts. When I look at this heart, I see the same thing. I feel, RJ, that through what the Lord showed us almost a decade ago about the stones crying out, we've answered every single question. And I don't demand respect. I'm only just saying that if people are going to debate me, I'm going to be saying, look, give me a question about the Bible and give me a little bit of time, and I will show you the answer. From everything from water to light to how the heart is.
And give credit to who designed it.
And give the credit to who designed it. I got to close it. It's probably burning up my bandwidth. Hey, man, I don't. Who else has got this stuff all loaded up like this, man? Who's been talking about this for years? I'd like to know when people are going to start taking their brain and their stems and how everybody put this on the walls in stone so it would be left for that future generation that the Bible was promising. Oh, Ray, me and you. You thought I was going to say do, re, fa, sol, la or something.
Both the Stamp Act crisis of 1765
and
the Boston Massacre.
They're still getting a lot of traction out of the Star
In
Force,
1785, the government of Massachusetts designated John Rogers presented this idea by 1829. However, it was
Where's the one that
by 1895, it was said to have been stripped by vandals and laid empty. Fort Jefferson then saw a brief resurgence in the Spanish-American War of 1890. Next, we will look at the star fort known as Fort Zachary Taylor, again in Florida, discovered
In the United
within its
States,
Salem
because they're
records, but Fort Lee
everywhere.
has not
That's what it
been
looks like
officially
today.
occupied 1994, and the original earthworks, if you coast of Boston, until 19.
Hey, I remember 2017 when Doug Bartles, the human Nephilim, the 6'5" monster man, was going to these forts, and we were doing shows on going like, "Hey, wow, everybody!" And I was trying to get everybody to go, "It's a star fort, baby," and nobody would. But this is who Vaara was asking questions about tonight. Heron of Alexander, if you have your pencils out. Hey, I just thought that kind of looked weird. But he's stoking the fire, steam power. And I'm saying this was basically the world of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's what's new. Not that people are, some believe and some don't. The Saurian rockets. I wanted to study these things because it's not that long ago. That poor horse. So once these got discovered from China in 1780, by 1790, the English had them on their boats and they were just going nuts, man. But we're not going to talk about that. We got to ask the questions about what's up with the Bible and stuff. These are just things I was studying today because I didn't feel like going out and making friends or even touching base with the friends that I've already had. I had all my health food and everything else I needed to live.
That kind of linked
Uh-oh,
up. I guess
RJ.
in this world, nothing does, and I should have gotten used to that. I should have probably known that. But this article kind of smashes that vision of there being the Rupus Negra, the big magnetic rock, and then all of those 4 islands around it that look like they're orchestrated. And like,
The Mercator's map of the North Pole is being thrown under the bus by one of its originators and main purporters, the Art de Nino.
I think we're gonna get to the North Pole maps tonight based on the line of my questions today.
maps from around the time that are mentioned in the story and some other things that are mentioned in the article, so you guys can check those out, because there are different depictions of that zone and they're all based on kind of these lost stories and these lost travels and lost books by a bunch of different travelers.
Anyway, I can't wait to get to what the questions are. I just felt like, people should know I just don't sit around wasting my time.
So that wasn't Gulliver's Travelers or whatever.
No, that would be, you're thinking of Jonathan Swift, Gulliver's Travels. I don't know what you're thinking of, RJ. Hey, look, this is when they're not being monsooned. When they don't have a monsoon, that's what these caves look like. Kanheri, Kanheri, Kanheri. Man, you look at that. Again, with the weirdness, right? Well, shoot, where's that? Oh, no. Oh, trigger. I'm supposed to show screenshots. Okay. I'm going to just start over. I don't trust that one. This is the screenshot time. Who lives in these houses, RJ?
I don't think I have any relatives in that neighborhood.
Those are all students at a Buddhist university. They live in those houses. Weird, huh?
Looks like they
yeah. There's
stacked up a bunch of campers. Yeah,
I had trouble making this thumbnail. So remember that city I just showed you that wasn't getting monsooned? It looks like all of their staircases and everything were made to channel water in every little way. I thought that people might like that. Finnish bread is the happy life.
Oh yeah, that's great.
So I
love toast.
I thought, oh, my Christian heart of love went out to Sana Vaara today. Come on, why didn't you tell me? Do you know her?
Not really, but I will get to know her a bit better
You
after this,
should,
maybe.
because she made this bread.
Oh man, that
No
looks so
kidding.
good.
I know.
Cool.
Imagine taking that fresh out of the oven and frying it a little bit. Good
It's
after that, it's like
and all you
perfect
really
toast.
need is a little bit of butter and salt, and I'd be the
Yeah,
happy boy.
yeah.
So these
Maybe a
are
glass of milk, but yeah.
there's a secret tunnel under.
No cow titty juice for me.
This is everything. You put a little mini gauge track in here that they bought from that one company in Germany. You turn it both ways and you say, we're delivering mail under the city. This is a human body part in my world.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And these are underneath it. This is the body parts of a Titan. Hey, everybody, that's who we're dealing with here. RJ got me all convinced of this craziness. And wait, I don't know. The Lord convinced us that the Bible is true. And then this ended up being part of the story. This is Liverpool. I've got hung up on Liverpool for over 90 minutes today. Liverpool is the weirdest thing. Ugh.
Brunswick.
Look at these
Isn't
bricks
that a
over here.
bowling
See,
lane?
I wanted to show this section of the bricks, but then this guy pointed right when I did the screenshot. I think I got a. Anyway, maybe there's another pitch later. This they found. This isn't a Swiss Army knife. This supposedly is 1,500 years old from insane and ancient, impossible Roman tools. Okay, whatever. I think that's it. They found that, cleaned it up, and they said it's 1,500 years old. It looked like that. And you know what these are for? They found with it for they could take the cataracts out of the people's eyes, RJ, because
No,
it's hollow.
Somebody's sewing kit or something.
No, they came with instructions, and it has to be hollow.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, I believe that since the 1960s, when they started improving our nation's cataract health by using tools that are modeled after it, it's not only incredibly similar. The only thing is you don't need the electric power. It works on its own suction, and they were doing cataract surgery. Hey, biological warfare. Do you know people that we used the
Gain of function?
smallpox? Yeah. Okay. Oh, so we're done. Did we cover the girl with the tattooed face, right? That's not that's not RJ's relative.
Right. Correct.
That's that tunnel, that Siloam tunnel. What did the Bible say about what was going on underground? When Hezekiah saw that Sennacherib had come to make war against Jerusalem, he consulted with his leaders and commanders about stopping up the waters of the springs outside the city. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bible talks about things that are Starfordy. Rebuild the broken sections of the wall and raise up towers on it. Okay. Build an outer wall and then reinforce it. Well, you see a lot of work being done on a lot of different things, and we need to put them in perspective. I'm a Bible boy. I just wonder what these they got to the rock at the cave of Adullam. At that time, David was in his stronghold. I just wonder what kind of camp those three mighty men really broke into. And I was trying to look and tie it into something Star 40, but tunnel-like. No, couldn't find anything. What's this? Man, that's a pretty big advertisement. solving the mystery of the biblical Jerusalem's water supply. You know, they're never going to figure that one out because what they call Jerusalem is not the biblical Jerusalem. I guess I couldn't get enough of that picture. So this is called the Old City of David. It's in what they call Jerusalem. It's just it's nothing, you know. So it's what is this? Is that it on Mount Moriah? It's not part of Jerusalem. There's the Jerusalem over there, and here's the original city of David. Oh, that's right. It comes into play when they're trying to, you know, cover up why there's nothing like what Hezekiah describes. Okay, they're just wasted part of my 7 to 10 minutes. This core of William Petrie's of what they say is like proof that they could do an ancient core drilling. Well, it's a cone. It's a cone. Why is it tapered? Why aren't the lines like matching a drill? They're up and down and over cross. How could a non-machined hand drill made core look like this? Nobody buys this, yet it's some sort of a body part. I might have a picture of it. I don't know. I got right back into ancient Egyptian technology.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, so they got everything leading back. I mean, there's some weird stuff, but that's not really Egypt. Where is it? I believe the United States is Egypt. Everybody used to be Egypt. I think what they have in Africa, and this might be depictions of the sea people for all we know, but something was going on over there. Could they have been the Assyrians? Weird stuff. That's pulled up, so I'm going to leave it up. Golden mean info. We studied this already. Fractals, chestahedrons. This is it. This is where we're going to find all the gemstones. It's all crying out. You know, where else are you going to get to hear people say medulla oblongata? Jeremiah 37. There's supposed to be some Star 40 thing in here, or was this something I was just reading? Oh, Jeremiah. I just wanted to remind people, you know, that Jeremiah was taken back to Egypt. And I believe Egypt was in the United States. And there's a lot of good proof in there. Something I was looking up. What is smallpox? So here's the proof, the history, the noble classes. Doggone it, I think I had it set up. But anyway, what is it that they did to these people? Oh, that. They did this to them by giving them the blankets and the 1500, BCE, China. It looks like they were studying it. This goes on to talk about how there was no credible smallpox into what they call the 1400s. It was brought here in the mid-17. It was a major endemic disease everywhere in the world except Australia. There you go. So it was a worldwide thing, man. And one more second, because this is the second to last thing, is where, anyway, in this long article, it talks about the people saying, we need to put it in blankets and give it to the Native Americans. And they did that around the world. But supposedly, this was one of the first things that was eradicated by a vaccine, by these guys. And then this guy died from it. And his death was shown that it was from something grown in a lab of the United States. It was kind of crazy that. Anyway, we got it. People got to get into this. Last tab was QRS. Pathologic Q waves occur when electrical signals pass through stunned or scarred. Please remember the video I just made. A scarred heart tissue, Q waves, myocardial infarctions. And RJ, I'm not talking about anything to do with the jab because I'm not a doctor and neither are you. And I'm not trying to imply anything, and nobody should try to read into that I'm trying to imply that this has anything to do or that I'm still looking into what the hell happened to us. I'm studying the heart and how come the heartbeat, covers different things. And then if I stumble upon this shit, gosh, it can get me worked up so quick. Hey, Sergio. It's so good to see you, man. Hola, Marcela. Okay, go ahead. I'm almost done. I'm out of bullets. That's what I was doing today while I was waiting for this.
He's here.
Interesting, huh? Yeah, so the Q storm is already here, too. Plus, I didn't even have time to get into the fact that I'm on February 4th, a prophecy went into play that was on February 2nd that's going to bankrupt the United States. But in the meantime, Vaara, I think you're in the right place of somebody that loves God and wants to defend the 66 books of the Bible as the only scripture we have. And I want to emphasize that my reason for that is I think that, all the Apocrypha are as fake as Josephus. All of those things about people who wrote right after the destruction of Jerusalem, it was a worldwide Armageddon. All of that. Or Irenaeus, Polycarp. You don't think I went to college in the 80s and knew about those people? I choose not to study them. They're fake. They're all fake. RJ, what's happening, man? You ready to get some questions?
Well, I was kind of curious. Yeah, we can get to Genesis chapter 3, but that the QRS sequence of the alphabet, what's the meaning behind?
I don't want to get into that.
Oh, okay. This sounds.
I'm not ready to present on that at all. I don't know if we're ready. I don't know if Vaara is ready to go to chapter 3. He's still hung up on chapter 1.
I can't wait to get to it, man. But it's still a few. It's still some way. Still some way ahead.
Yeah, that's the whole purpose. Was your questions and we should make some progress.
Well,
if we don't get distracted,
if you're ready, we can get to it.
I would encourage it. Yep.
If Alan's done with this rant,
are we ready?
Why not?
Okay.
Well, I'm ready. And
go ahead.
Like
do you want to share the screen?
Yeah. Well, I'll just have my little monologue here for you in the beginning.
Your outline.
Like you said in the description, I'm in business tonight, and I got a little surprise for you guys here. Yeehaw, motherfucker! Got my sheriff cowboy hat on today.
Oh my goodness, you remind me of
you wearing spurs?
Sheriff Woody is in town.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Southern American pop culture and media and old school hip hop and rap music and black humor. I was like the rappiest wanksta, wannabe white boy in vocational school when I was becoming a bartender. But yeah, man, tonight I'm ready to ride a horse, churn some butter, and herd some sheep. That's what it's all about, right?
I found the
So
website for you, Vaara. She even calls herself Sarah Vaara. I showed you
I saw that. I saw that. But yeah,
Go ahead.
uh, my
You
name is
got the
Vaara.
you know I took longer. I took more than twice as long as I thought. But so you got complete control, Sheriff.
All right. Yes, my name is Vaara. I'm from Finland. I'm here once again this week to unapologetically, I got it right this time, challenge Alan and Randy's views on the Bible in good spirit and thump your Bibles. We're going to thump them deep tonight. So get your Bibles out, folks, and welcome to the Mudflood Bible Study Challenge. Yeah.
We got to get that Clint Eastwood, Western whipping of
Yeah.
the, snap that whip and rawhide.
Oh, yeah. Snap that whip. Which
You want
group
me
was that? Which group was that, by the way? That's an old song. Weird
Welcome,
music
Luther.
video too, by the way.
Welcome,
There's a
Luther
new
the
sheriff in
Truther.
town. All right. So, Mudflood Bible Style Challenge, Week 5, Genesis, Part 5. This is my sheriff episode here. We are acknowledging the Greek numbers here. So, as always, we analyze the Bible, find out whether it's God's word or something else. We explore and discuss different translations, interpretations, and perspectives with an open mind. And it is a long book, and it's not a race. We're only in Genesis chapter 2. So enjoy the most extensive, out-of-the-box, and fun Bible study challenge series on YouTube. And I mean that, because you don't get discussions like this anywhere else. And I told Randy too, a couple of weeks ago, we should have like a sound effect or some music bits here at some point.
Yeah.
But our mission is to challenge ourselves, find answers.
I am looking towards extracting the resources of the university I attend to get ideas to punch up the quality of this show. It's just a matter of time and the Lord's blessing.
You're gonna apply your indoctrination.
I just want to, I want to be able to show better clips and have sound effects and.
Yeah, we want everything, man. We want.
Yeah, I want it to be. I want it to be engaging. The presentation. I know you're using the F word right there.
Yeah, this is Sergio would be. I think we should do like a special episode where we could all with Sergio talk about Trinity, about the Trinity, and decode it and decipher it and just get to the bottom of it.
What a breath of fresh air, huh, Randy? I mean, he's in for it. He's young and he's against the Trinity. He's got a whole life of explaining to do, but you have truth on your side.
Yep.
It's a goal. Yeah, it's a goal.
Well, it's an interesting book anyways, and everybody's got their own style of reading it and interpreting, but I think this is the...
Well, for the record, where are you as agnostic or atheist or moral atheist?
I appreciate the honesty in agnosticism. Like you can't really put God into understandable physical, human terms and understanding. There's no I don't believe in absolute truths. I think truth is just a direction. You can take it or, put it on the side. But I don't know. I would say there's a creator for sure. I believe we live in a simulation. Like we could be ants to some other, higher gods, like literally watching over us in the dome or somewhere. Those are all interesting future discussions. And I hope Sergio applies this when he's reading the Bible and doing I hope everybody applies this in their life when, receiving information from any source. Prove all things, hold fast that which is good, and abstain from all appearance of evil. So this is my personal approach to deciphering the love of God. I think last week Alan got a little, too
Carried away.
excited. Yeah, too excited to give me some, add flames to the fuel. But it's all coming. It's all coming. So yeah, let's just get into it. Just a little reminder of the what we've been going through here. You can all, pause the video and read it for yourself if you want to keep up to date. We didn't really get to. Well, this is something I added today. Alan was kind enough to, refer to the King James version and the replenish thing being mentioned in just a few, I think translations or versions of the Bible. But I gotta do more research on it because Jordan Maxwell, I just gotta say he's really how could I say, convincing on his research. And yeah, just gotta read the original translations. I think for me it's
Yeah,
at least.
I think we would agree on that, RJ, that, he's someone that people can get wisdom from. Jordan Maxwell. Could you name, a couple others?
You asking me or Randy?
Yeah, it's a matter of what you've been exposed to, and as far as the translations that we're familiar with, it's a matter of chronologically which ones were first and which ones were printed and and circulated, to be the more familiar ones, and then it's a matter of questioning. Yeah, I'm going by the English translations. So yeah, it's and you have to take it back to the original text, whether it's the Hebrew or Greek, and to get the true translation into whatever language you want to study it in. I mean, if everybody spoke the original Hebrew and Greek and whatever, it wouldn't be necessary to have translations.
There you go, Vaara.
As long as you didn't change, the definitions wouldn't be changed.
Good.
How about that? That's some awesome, good
like
news
right enthusiasm.
there. Vaara is going worldwide.
Oh yeah. Well, that's another.
Well, get specific with us here. Let's see how we do before let's see what we can do without all the bells and whistles and the sound effects right now.
Yeah, let's get into it, man. I got like 5 or 6 pages here ready for y'all. So here's the next. This was another one I added about the teeth structure and skulls, and saying I give you every herb-bearing seed, and basically tell us you are vegetarians. Like, think about this. Sharp teeth are for tearing flesh. That's what basically being carnivores and eating meat is telling you, or what it is. And gorillas and elephants are bigger and stronger than any human, and they only eat leaves and plants. And turtles live to be Noah's age. So that's just something for the people to consider.
Good
about
advice.
Your diet. You are what you eat energetically.
Well, yeah, it enters through the mouth, but then you still have the rest of the digestive system. If you're ingesting stuff that can't be broken down, where the body's going to benefit from it, not that it can't pass through the system, But yeah, there's more going on than just whatever's being chewed and swallowed.
Yeah, well, everybody's gonna do what they want to do.
Yep.
I would
I
encourage,
can't lie,
yes.
you know.
I can
I can't
only
lie.
encourage everybody to eat wise right now more than ever in your life. What you put in your body, consider that you are putting it into potentially the temple of God.
All right. Don't underestimate your diet. In other words. So we go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 2. On the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. Now, like I said, I'm a nerd with numbers and words and letters and symbols and all that great stuff. And I'm just curious about the, repetitive nature of, certain numbers or sequences like 7 or 12. And I was just curious about you guys' thoughts on gematria overall and the language of symbols like numbers and their significance to our life.
Well, sure, yeah. If you're speaking about a calendar, right? It shouldn't be other than numbers. First day, second day, third day. But we got, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and there's a reason for that. But yeah, technically it should be, day 1, day 2, day 3 through 7, then repeat.
We have what we have in Genesis 1 and 2 are the two building foundations of what I'm going to be teaching, Lord willing, the rest of my life, is that the creation of the Elohim described in Genesis chapter 1, when they made in the image of the Elohim those people who they ruled and reigned over, possibly at the same time as some human overlap. And that's when things went bad. That's when they thought they could, be the God who appointed a king, and all of the other nations had kings, and Jehovah's nation did not. And a lot of things happened. And then the second creation was from their dust, because it said, nevertheless, you will die like the men, regular men. And I believe they're reserved in judgment. The stones are crying out. They are the mountains. And so it's a very deep subject. We don't need gematria. We have the language of math. 7 is 7, no matter what language you say it in. 12 is 12. We have 12, 48, 144. We have a 12-based society. Our clock is set onto 12s, half a day. These numbers are ingrained. 6 is 2 12s. Sexadecimal is part of our life. There are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. I'm ready to go to math questions anytime, anywhere. So, and gematria is something that is fairly interesting that I don't have time for.
Yeah, but you talk about the Kabbalah sometimes, and I was
Yeah,
just
I believe
thinking,
it. I believe
maybe
it.
you'd have an opinion on it.
I believe that the Kabbalah is true. And the only part they got wrong is that Jesus Christ really did do that. It's not the Jesus in everybody's brain. There's a pineal gland and a whole system that is to steer those people who are 1 called, 2 chosen, 3 elect, 4 adopted, who need to be faithful.
And that's where names and titles are significant. That you're speaking of Emmanuel. So, for what it's worth, that's That's who designed it. That's spoke it in.
So we feel that there's a faith going to be demonstrated by all humans. Either the faith is going to be in these 66 books that I feel any possible comfort that can be given is derived from, and everything else. And everybody else, that everything else means Copernicus, Galileo, and the Big Bang, and I don't have faith in that.
But you guys take it serious though, the 666 number of the enemy, so to speak. If you see it somewhere, you know, whether in numbers or in, you know, symbology, like you know, what do you have, these World Health Organizations and CERN, you know, like you have the and Google Chrome, you know, all those symbols is all the same 666 everywhere. And like you said, there's 60 seconds in a minute, there's 60 minutes in an hour, and there's 24 hours in a day. 2 plus 4 is 6. So that's 666 right there too, you know, just like in time, in the time that we calculate and measure, you know. Like, to me, being a nerd, again, a mathematical law governing simulation theory believing nut, I think, you know, it just makes sense to me that, you know, there's the enemy, there's the number of the enemy right there too. It's everywhere.
So 6 is the number of a man. You know, it's the number of a man. 6 is, you know, and you know, a compass, you know, there's a compass, there's a square, they're useful tools. They're not always going to be used by the enemy. The spiral, the swastika can be co-opted. It does not mean that when we see spirals that the Navajo or the Paiute left on the walls of the mountains here in the Southwest where I live, that, you know, they were looking for little boys because, oh, we know the spiral is the symbol for the Pizzagate crew, you know.
So you don't take it that seriously.
Yeah.
You don't take it that seriously then?
The gematria or what?
666.
You know, the beast is over. All of that's done with. You know, the beast was probably Nero or somebody like that, or the whole Roman banking system of, you know, we have no God but Caesar, and who's ever the Caesar that's on the coin. You know, there's a lot to be said about what could be going on back then, and you know, basically the hardest part is for Christians to live up to the example that the world expects from us.
Yeah, and Solomon was credited with receiving whatever it was, and that was the number 666 also.
The talents of gold in tribute a year, you know, it's a weird number, and it's definitely not what the dispensationalists think it is. And but you know, there's a lot of things out there, you know, that people are going to disagree on. You know, like I don't think, you know, that pork is parasites. That, you know, the Bible just excluded pork, but it didn't exclude it from the Gentiles or anybody else. They were not sinning by eating it. It was not a sin to them. And the Bible just says it's an exclusionary meat. It never says, don't eat pork, it's a dangerous meat, it'll kill you. It would just say, here's the rules what we do, here's the rules what they do. This keeps us separate and maintains that we do it because our God is happy when we obey him.
That's such an interesting discussion, like, where I want to get with you guys sometimes, but I guess I can just mention it quickly. Like, the idea that we're being fed only those, you know, like few main things, like cows, chickens, and pork. First of all, you don't find any of those animals in the wild. You find bisons in the wild. You find all kinds of birds in the wild, and you find, wild porks, or what do you call those things? Hogs, wild hogs.
Yeah.
And
Venison, yeah,
yeah,
Wild
rabbit.
fish. Yeah, there's no farm raised salmon. And people, oh, it's just as good as wild caught. No, it's not.
and a pig, a pork is such an unnatural looking animal anyway. Like the color of it, it's pink. How do you get that kind of color naturally? It doesn't make sense. So yeah, I think we're being fed all kinds of genetically engineered stuff that's thousands of years old apparently, and it's been around for a long time. Like I'm telling you, based
I
on
really don't
everything I
know.
know.
I mean, I'm open to right now, I'm locked in on 17 and 11. That 9/11 2001 was the start of the last 45 years, but I'm being drawn in my private studies to more and more of like the weirdness of what if somehow, some way, the Jehovah's Witnesses were correct about the year 1919 being the year that something very spiritual happened, because that's the year of the Spanish flu, the United Nations or the United League or something like League of Nations,
Yep.
that the president of the United States founded for the rest of the world. The United States said, no, we don't want to be a part of it. And then it was the roaring 20s. It just led up. There's something to the weirdness of World War One that makes me think that was part of Jesus's time. That was part of the destruction. And everything else is a cover up of that. I mean, along with every Monday night, we'll take questions. I mean, the veil is being lifted for many, many topics and many different. And Heavenly Father, we pray that
Well,
you will
yeah,
bless.
consolidating kingdoms into nations, to be deceived.
Right. And not to,
So,
to let Vaara, you're the sheriff of this show, but to say the one thing that is going to be different about the flat earth nation that's going to end up encompassed about by Satan, because we are not going to draw a line in the sand and say, here, we're going to fight them to the death. Bullshit. We're going to run for our lives and we're going to make it. And that's how it's going to happen. And I forgot where I was going, but go ahead, Vaara. You got it.
Well, yeah, that was a lot of interesting points there. Uh, I would just suggest everybody watching. It's it's kind of nerdy, but you don't even have to study it. Just do a numerology thing on your date of birth or name. It might open some paths or some new sections in your brain, or you might get interested in it. To me, it's all just everything's connected to everything.
Any comments
At
on
the
that,
end.
RJ? RJ, any comments on,
yeah,
like
it's
look up?
very, yeah, it's not as simple as this is the explanation. Everything is interconnected, and it has a lot to do with motives and
Yeah.
what's the consequences.
The reason that I'm here acting as Salt Paco is to tell you, Vara, don't go looking up your birth date and try to work around it, like how certain things evolve in the date I was born. Because the warning in the Bible isn't that astrology and those type of things aren't true. The Bible considers them very true. It considers them cheating and not looking towards our creator. So
Cheating.
astrology and those things are not forbidden because they're not true. They're forbidden because in the long run, that's what caused all of this in the Tower of Babel, as people jumped ahead of the Bible. They started looking to the sky, starting to track their lives, and they were going to be able to interpret and control God. Yet he confused their language and said, no, 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 you're not going to do that.
Well, that's based on what the Creator did on day 4. That's presented in Genesis.
We're probably, that's not, Vaara was sitting there going like, you're not helping
What
me
did
at
he
all,
What
you
did he
guys.
do on day 4 again?
When he put the lights in the firmament, the greater and lesser light, and then also the stars, and it was for tracking years, seasons.
They're the clock.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's
like we live in a clock.
You
basically.
see, when you read the astrological clock and everything like that, and as they named it and everything, passing through the Virgin and here and there, you've been weighed in the balance. There's it all leads to the fact that it's obvious you're going to need a blood sacrifice. And what those people did was jump the gun. They wanted that blood sacrifice. They wanted those benefits. So they started either what's the most innocent sacrifice? Children, virgins, you name it, whatever they were sacrificing, they were doing it wrong because they did not wait for God to incarnate in the flesh and offer himself, as he told Abraham, I will provide myself as the sacrifice. And then the whole thing about he only opens up some people's eyes to recognize that as truth is another part that people have to accept, that some people, no matter how much you tell them and reason with them of what you believe, they're not going to see it. Wow.
So curiosity killed the cat, basically, is what you're saying.
Basically, they thought they figured it out, and I think that astrology is not your friend. Go ahead, RJ.
No, I just, getting back, the lights, they're totally independent. Not that, the phases and everything as the sun overtakes the moon, every month, during the new moon, that's how you get the waxing and waning and the new moon, no moon, full moon, when they're 180 degrees apart, what's going on in the dome, in the firmament. That's how it works. But that's not what you're taught by any means. But of course, you're not going to be taught the truth when it comes to just about everything. There's certain stuff they have some truth in it, but for the most part, what people, what they're taught to perceive as real has nothing to do with reality at all.
Right. And
that's where it gets
all sectors.
And there isn't anyone that's immune to it. You have to, hopefully have the veil lifted, and then understand, and then get back to prove all things, and then stay away from anything that's evil, and that's even back to motives and
And who are we to judge? Who are we to judge what's evil?
Very intertwined, everything. Because there isn't any way you can understand God if you don't understand his cosmology and what he said, what he did, and what's going on, and then ignore it. I don't see where, as far as being the temple where he's going to reside, with that kind of conflict.
Are we still talking about astrology, you guys?
You can.
No, I'm good. I was
Okay.
just get to those numerological mentions later, I'm sure. But yeah, let's get back to it. Let's go next to Genesis 2, chapter 2, verse 7. I always get those confused. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground. I'm getting my southern accent on. And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man
That's
became
good.
a
That
living
is so
soul.
good.
Is it
That's a
good?
perfect Southern
Amen.
accent, man. You nailed it, dude.
Yeah, we down here in the south. We got the whole family together. Got my mammy, my daddy, my Grammy, my pappy, my cousins.
And your coon dog and
Yeah.
your hound dog and your donkey and everything.
So yeah, what's this all about, guys? Breathe life into the nostrils, the breath of
Go ahead,
life.
RJ. I mean, this is a big thing, and I know
Yeah.
that Tommy from
This
Texas
would be.
used to call this three creations, but we decided, that the man and the woman was one. It's only the second creation, not the three creations.
Yeah, and this will be size suitable for tilling the ground, because that's the whole point.
There was no man to love the ground, to take care of the ground. That's why they needed this. The first Titans were obviously way too big to plow the ground. Even the second Titans, the 15 footers, the what they call Nephilim, giant people, they probably would have a hard time bending over to do the plow. So Ha'adam was created. That's what you see. This man became a living being because the others were created in the image. That's how come sometimes on this show we like to go to the original languages, and we see that Ha'adam was created. You know, it's a man of the dust, and it's is the man, not in the image, but a man formed from eretz. It's called eretz. It's dust, I believe it. I believe it's called eretz. They took this man and put him in the garden. This is the man, the Ha'adam. There's also good lessons to be learned about Weadam. That there was doggone it. There's not an Adam because there's these two confusing entrances for Adam, same everything, but there was no Weadam to cultivate.
Are
The
you
ground.
on something that you wanted to share?
If I'm not sharing, I am so mad. Oh, I thought I was sharing
Well, we have.
because
Sorry.
I was on my own screen and
Yeah,
I was going through all of the verses and
yeah,
showing,
and then that.
the Weadam, and I'll go back and show you the Ha'adam because that's what we are from the dust, but
God damn.
the right size, damn, were not the right size to till the doggone ground. What does that even mean? I was going to get to that. At least I could show that part because cultivate.
All right.
I need to go to verse 5 because it's not there. It didn't cultivate it in that. Cultivate. Okay. Serve. Serve the Lord. That's the exact 27 out of 289. When you are cultivating the ground, we should be serving it. Glyphosate should be the last thing on our mind. As how you actually are serving it. It's just
Yeah,
it's not a
forget the roundup
consistent.
unless you're doing the cattle drive.
To
Yeah,
do the
yeah, baby.
word. It said
Hey,
to do
cowboy,
the word.
you want to get out there and punch those cows and get that farm you're basically serving the Lord. I don't know where they came up. I mean, there's got to be more cultivating going on in the Bible there. Interesting, right? What is the ground? Hademama. It's from, I even see the word Adam in there because he is made from that. It's something that's on the ground. And so I believe that anything that creeps on the ground, and human, you are ground, and inside you lives 5 different kingdoms. And strangely enough, the last few years since I've been studying our microbiome, I teach that because of this spiritual judgment that's going on, somehow we needed all this fleshly stuff running around in here. And like, we're really spiritual beings that are going to be changed later. But in the meantime, there's an elect group of us that will not deny Christ because we're to deliver trillions. There's actually trillions of living things that have that life in us. So we consider a very unique and special ministry going on here, which is why we're honored to have you, Vaara, the one that's going to, ask questions to see if, like, from the 66 books alone, can we make it work? Which is why, and ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 5, and we're still on Genesis chapter 2. And we keep going back to Genesis chapter 1 also.
We'll be doing Genesis at this pace for until September.
Yeah,
that's all good.
That's being optimistic.
Yeah. Well, always being conservative, though. I think everything in modesty. I think that's a good advice. But it's just the translations. I haven't really studied those much, but breathing life. We gotta look at that as speaking, right? Or some sort of, it's coming out of the mouth, air. How do we interpret this? Breathing life, breath of life. Is it sound? Is it speech?
Yes, it's the vibration. It's that in the very beginning, you see, people should not think of our God as an anthropomorphical shaped spirit that is a bigger God. The God we worship is the God that's everywhere at the same time.
What do you think becoming a living soul means?
Well, somehow right now in our human form, we have to do what's called dying. And like, unless a seed falls to the ground and dies, you don't get a plant of wheat or corn or barley or marijuana. So we're seeds right now because for some reason humans are being used as an object lesson for angels who have a great aversion to human flesh. They, based on kind of what Sergio and some others were talking about the other day, it's time to start thinking, in heaven, where a lot of this went down, and we don't know how long before the physical earth, but I don't think that angels were created second. I think they were first. So a lot of weirdness going on there. A lot of weirdness. I feel like we need a question because I lost track of where he's going.
Well, to me, the most interesting part is the creation story. Like, where did we come from, right? Like the origins. That's always where my focus is when it comes to researching this. Because that's why history keeps repeating itself, right? We keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. So what is it? What are the root reasons to the problem?
To build nations. Everything that we can agree on, that historians agree on, is that since in the Julian calendar, because they confuse us when they put these dates into Wikipedia, of 1666, which equates in my world to the Gregorian calendar of 1711. That's it. I mean, and they somehow used a computer to tie in all of the obelisks and Mudflood buildings and said, you know, this special guy got this special building, but the rest of the world was peasants. And as we look from when that time period of 1666, 1711 was what? The Enlightenment, where we get Descartes in that led to, you know, the modern Carl Jung, Immanuel Kant in between normal history. We should look back at the Greeks because they talked about democracy or republic, and we can fight about that for the rest of our time, not realizing Satan is building nations now. Whatever the world was recovering from was not a one world government. It was nation states, city states running themselves, saying, like a congregational church, we appreciate your advice. We got it from here. You know, we'll take it. We're doing our own thing here. We'll need to look at the perspective of what did it mean when God would rule with a rod of iron? Did every individual city state say, we are so convinced that we don't need your help or we don't trust you? We're going to do whatever we can to copy what the Chinese invented with those Miashang rockets, which are directly descended to the Saturn V, which took the man to the moon in a lot of people's world. Huh. I feel like I'm ranting again, and there's a new sheriff in town.
No, it's just interesting to always hear you speak, you know, where it's going. And
well, they had to get those factories established so they could start building fireworks for what we'll be celebrating here in less than a few weeks.
There's a question for you from Sergio that you might want to prepare when you have questions for him. He wants to know what do you consider as a living soul or a spirit? The word body. Oh, what is a living soul, spirit, body?
yeah,
Oh, so he's giving his biblical opinion. He's not asking you a question yet. My bad.
Oh.
Not my first mistake today.
Yeah, that was weirdly structured if it was a question directed at me.
Well, what do you think?
Make it,
I mean, do you feel like things ring true with your spirit in a serendipitous way? Or, you know,
again, it goes to semantics with me. Like, you can call it whatever you want: intuition, spirit, God, you know, creator. There's something you cannot explain, right? It's a feeling. We all have it, you know, but we're so in our thoughts and in our routines and daily lives that we don't pay any attention to it. Basically, it's the
I think
subconscious mind.
You know, from your perspective, you're saying, yeah, you don't believe you are able to trust it? Is that the?
No, of course not. I'm saying, like, I'm a very spiritual guy, right? I have great intuitive, you know, directional sort of sense. Been that way, you know, for 10 years now. And before that, I was in a period where it was just, I was in a frequency like that was out of this world. Like, I was completely in a state of unconditional love, no fear, no nothing. For like
from what age to what age? Just be a little bit more specific.
It was like a period. It was like a week period. I was like 22 years old and experimenting with, you know, energy. Basically, I was really open-minded. I was really depressed, also like cynical, like just fuck it. I don't give a fuck about anybody. I'm just gonna do what I want right now. And right now I want to experience and dive deep into the esoteric, paranormal, you know, stuff.
Did your friends notice?
Well, of course, you know, like maybe after all of that happened, I became a better person overall and just very spiritual in a way. Like I was talking about to all my friends, you know, which I would be talking about, hey, let's go get some pussy in the bar. Now I would be talking about, hey, man, you know, I'm like a hippie now and smoking some weed and, you know, we're multi-dimensional creator beings, dude, you know.
So
that
you like transition to a time where you thought you had some sort of sneaking suspicion, and then uh, where you had more uh, positive feelings towards.
Ultimate happiness. He was pretty happy stage of his life, man.
Yeah, well, it'd have to be
well,
on a
it
positive
was
basis. I
it
mean,
was sort of a psychosis,
you
really.
weren't struggling with depression,
He said a
apparently.
little bit. Probably because his friends didn't believe him and only wanted to
Oh,
go to the bar.
No, I basically was like really isolated. I isolated myself, and you
withdraw.
know, yeah,
Okay.
that was like basically the I was so low in my life spiritually that I had to start searching for God, like seriously start searching for him.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
when he entered in my life changed. I still had, you know, human problems, let's say, but I became a better person and I delved deep into the rabbit hole, and I'm glad I did.
Heightened awareness.
Yeah. But that week period, what I was talking about, it was basically a psychosis. Like, I don't really know what triggered it, you know. It- yeah. It's like
Could have been
basically living in two realities at the same time.
the influences prior to whatever you know. Either you got away from it or something. Maybe it's
Who knows? Who knows how we get led, in different times and periods in our life, there are
well,
certain
earlier
times.
on. Earlier on, I was more influenced, like how to become a professional asshole. It was a
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and some can really excel at that, and that there was a time when I was excelling at
Well,
being
yeah. Yeah. A lot of people want to be a professional asshole, but they don't have the means or the opportunity that you did. So you actually kind of perfected it, at least in your local area.
well, and I was influenced by others that were also that was the whole the peer pressure, you know and then it's cut away, and maybe not uh, excel and thrive on that being a goal.
Right. You came to your senses, you found a good wife, you settled down. The Lord did that for you. I call it what the processing of being born again is a process which you may or may not be undergoing, but being born again isn't something that a person does by going to a Billy Graham crusade or a Benny Hinn crusade. Being born again is something that you're totally unaware of, like when you were born. You have no memories of that. Nobody that tells you they do is telling the truth. You were just born. And the next thing you know, you realize you were alive. When people change and they go through these spiritual times, it's because they've been changed. And then they start questioning it, losing friends, things they used to love, they start to hate. The things they used to hate and question, they start to like. I go out of my way to live the golden rule to all of the people that have chosen to live the gay lifestyle. I'm commanded to love them, and so I do. I do not agree with them. I'm a big fan of the American family, the Finnish family, the Russian and Chinese family, the mom and dad. Yes, has there been some problems with men hitting women? Yes, but on the whole, we get a lot better of this whole children thing, which replenishes the earth, which would have kept people going, but we lost that. We'll never be able to repopulate the earth to where its numbers will sustain because it's over, baby. 2046 is the end. And any
Still
thoughts?
got a few years.
Any questions in the chat or any more questions from my man Vaara? Oh.
Well, let's go back to the draft here. If you can share my screen. So I think, what are you guys in for another 15,
the 2
20
trees.
minutes?
Now that's one we should do a special show on because the tree of life and the tree of good and evil, that's something I think I would need to prepare for.
Yeah, we can leave this for next time, you know.
We'll keep it highlighted then.
So. Well, I mentioned the North Pole maps. We can look at those quickly, but I'll just read this here again with my southern accent. So we're at Genesis chapter 2, verse 8 to 10. And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put a man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into the four heads. We'll get into these four heads now. Yeah, and I was showing you that. So
yeah, do we even know what we know? Eastward faces the sun, right, RJ? We're good on that.
Well, that's that. Yeah, the sun allegedly comes, from the east, as it like in Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 5, and hurrying to get back to where it started.
From
or
hence it
began.
came. From hence it came in the King James.
So yeah, it's that arc. It's always traveling. A 24-hour lap. And
hey, you guys, what's up with all those people always looking up and worshiping the sun? That's a part. The pharaohs did it. Everybody did it. Were they doing it is there any possible way that they were thinking of the creator that made the sun and not actually worshiping the sun? Because the sun seems like a stupid thing to worship. Any thoughts?
Well, without it, there wouldn't be much life here under the dome.
Zero, yeah, zero light.
So
especially for plants, they're dependent upon it all, exclusively.
And vitamin D, and yeah, it's.
Well, I'm just mentioning eastward
Well,
here.
here I see your point 3 on that says, so the Garden of Eden is at the North Pole.
Yeah.
Mount Marahu. There is something pointing north or south on a compass, RJ. Would it, and Garden of Eden, though, wouldn't that have been washed away in the flood?
Yeah, I wasn't there. I'm thinking the Garden of Eden was south of, center North Pole somewhere. And then wherever, what was going on east of Eden, the ark, again, other than describing that, I'm not going to speculate, finding it on the map.
Okay, well, do either one of you think that the Bible teaches that the sword that was doing the samurai ninja that was keeping everybody out of the garden? I'm gonna.
The angels.
Do you think they left that angel with the sword during the flood? just sitting there. I don't want anybody getting into this and ooh, there goes those trees washing away. Something happened big in the flood. And I just think there is. I don't, I think where's the Garden of Eden? What's up with that? Is to me is it's like who, you know, who's the beast? What's the mark? Who cares? It's over.
Well, if you look at the North Pole map, right? You showed it earlier. Am I showing it on my screen here? So, what do we see here, guys? Do we see a river to water a garden or something, or gardens that became into four heads? What do you think, guys?
Well, I kind of going to go with the great big, where's that other video that Art Nino put out that talked about that today?
Travelers from the past that. So this is a very interesting article that kind of blew my mind, because I have come to have fallen in love with the beauty of the Mercator map and its depiction of the North Pole. And to me, for a pretty long time, pretty much until today, I guess, the that depiction seemed like something that was discovered and then lost and passed on. And maybe that I kind of had I had the impression that that was one of those things that kind of leaked out. But I guess in this world nothing does, and I should have gotten used to that. I should have probably known that. But this article kind of smashes that vision of there being the Rupus Negra, the big magnetic rock, and then all of those four islands around it that look like they're orchestrated and like they're created and look like they were designed by that way to be the center of something awesome that lies beyond our realm of knowing.
A timely presentation of a timely found article so that I can say they do these things, they release these things, so they will be an ever lasting, non ending rabbit trail away from our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But did that answer your question about the map? I mean, I was not a fan. I've never been a fan. I don't like, it's based on a globe. It's based on a globe, man.
Well, it's in a lot of things, actually. They put it right in our face since childhood.
That's what
You
you
get
got
the
showing
Windows
there.
logo. It's the
That's
same thing.
Microsoft.
Intentions. Yep.
It's like the iPhone, biting the apple.
Yeah,
Adam's
Go,
and
man, go.
Adam's apple.
New sheriff in town.
Yeah. I got all this shit down, man. I'm really into symbology, and when you have the eyes to see it, it's it's fucking
They're
everywhere.
rubbing our face in it. They're rubbing
Yeah,
our nose in it. Did you
and they
happen
know
to?
it.
Did you see that movie Mindset the other night? I was showing that was shot in
Oh, I'm gonna watch it for
a
sure.
star fort. I watched it again. Its
Yeah, I watched it.
dialogue is right out of everything predictive of like the only answer is we need to appoint women because they understand physics and present it better. And then the presidents did it, and then our world did it, and everything they talk about implementing has been implemented. The fans of the family, the fans of the Bible, we lose. We run for our lives and are rescued again. That's what the Bible teaches. It doesn't teach, you know, uh, post millennial preterism. And I'm going to have to mention again, there's already what we teach is not preterism, what everybody else in the Golden Age past movement calls it. There's already a theology called preterism, and we're against it. And so are all Golden Age pastors. They just don't bother to use the term. That's why We're talking to a small baker's dozens group of people, but maybe not, because we all know those people you mentioned taking a bite out of Apple, the largest company in the world, Microsoft, Bill Gates, involved with things we didn't talk about earlier for a reason. This is the world we live in. You're here asking questions because that's the questions the world has right now. They're selling lies for sure. Everybody wants to think the United States economy is going to be fine. The stock market's going up. We got Biden and Trump running against us. We got China, Russia knocking at the door. Everybody knows they just signed off on the petrodollar. They don't need our money. The
We got
atomic
flat
bomb.
earthers going to Antarctica this
Who
winter.
went to Antarctica?
We got flat earthers going to Antarctica this
That's what they said.
winter. Yeah.
They said they were going to go to Antarctica, but they didn't, and because they choose life, And I warned them. I
I
almost
wouldn't.
begged
I
them,
wouldn't go.
don't go to Antarctica unless you want. They were going to take their wife and children with them.
Besides, who cares what's in Antarctica? Let's go to the North Pole, man. Based on this, what I've just read in the Bible
I think they were going to
and
go to the
looking
North
at the
Pole.
North Pole maps, it's crazy synchronicity to me.
Like
And
to
in
know how
that
you.
movie, I thought it was interesting, as far as, to depopulate the world. That
It's such a strange movie, RJ, and then the whole filming of it is in the most, probably filmed star fort of this last decade of everybody coming into it. Everybody just goes, I get, Mount Marsh or whatever they call it. It's the one that's surrounded by a swamp.
but where the standard of living, where it's what we're accustomed to, particularly with abortion being available, and that the depopulation just happens, always has, and it happens, but you can't raise the standard of living everywhere because that wouldn't be fair. You have to have those that are in the third world countries, or they're suffering, and criminy if half the children make it to being teenagers, they're lucky. And then you have the few adults that can have children, but yeah it yeah it is, yeah, the whole system, yeah, as a concept and how it works totally sucks, and it sucks a lot, but that's the reality of it.
When we look at the Bible, and as you can see, I chose the book of Romans, it was the largest city based on the excavations that we can do with the lidar and everything else like that. And as we look down, well, what was the second biggest city? Oh, it was Corinth. What was the third biggest city in the star fort world that Jesus and well, it was Ephesus. And I'm telling you that Galatia and Philippi were no slouch, and neither was Colossians or Thessalonica. These were star fort cities, people, and they turned the world upside down. They were unashamed of the gospel. They taught that the wrath of God was, because they used the present tense, is being revealed from heaven. And they said it was against the godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth by their wickedness. That there
Well,
we
yeah, and that, what you're describing is what went on, like with Jonah and Nineveh.
You're describing every politician.
every politician, every politician
minus the repentance,
whether they're liberal or Democrat, conservative or libertarian, anarchist, or Luddite. Everybody is always going to be like, hey, am I getting paid my fair share? Because some people are happy to work on a farm, make a subsistence living, raising a family with a woman they love because she got a lot of love. But since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his internal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from his workmanship, which we deduce by math, I think, in a lot of cases, and that we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And you will be without excuse when you stand in front of this light. For deep down, a spirit bears witness to our spirit that there is a God. And although some people know, those wicked ones, they knew God. They don't bother to glorify him or listen to him, do what he says. And they don't give thanks. And something happens to their thinking in their dark and foolish hearts. And the reason and we have to be honest with it, is that if anything, humans are what they call horny all the time. And for this reason, God gave some of them over to dishonorable passions. And even the women who claim to be not us, but in the meantime, they're secretly addicted. And it's like, why are they buying batteries by the gross, 144 at a time? Because they're at the point in their lives where a dull battery just won't get them off. Their women, likewise, exchanged natural relations for unnatural ones. They did not see fit to acknowledge God, so he gave them up to a depraved mind and to 50 shades of gray. That's the world we live in, surrounded by people who have taken death vows, Rosicrucians, Freemasons, Illuminatis, and Jesuits. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. I'm sorry, but I have to love them. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They gossip all the time, slanderers, God haters, and they throw that in my face and say that's me. They're the insolent, arrogant, boastful ones, but I will be called that. They invent new forms of evil. They disobey their parents. They are senseless, faithless, heartless, merciless. Although they know God's righteous decree and those that do such things are worthy of death, continue. They didn't only continue to do those things, but they also said, what? This guy changed into a woman? We should make him the head of the whole medical thing of California. And why not? It's a brave new world. They've won, and we're not going to win the world back. We're going to end up running for our lives. People are going to be going like, why don't I believe in God? And we're going to be like, sit down. This is going to be hard for you. Because that's all we've got left. They tolerate us now. Soon they will be hunting us to our death. Because another round of masking up, who's down for that?
It'll be nice and clear after the dust settles, though.
Well, yeah, it's a matter of
say that again. Say that one again, because I think a lot of people only heard until the dust settles.
When the dust settles after the storm that is coming, is, and I'm very thankful to be alive to witness it. And I have the armor of God, the spiritual mentality to face all this. But after the dust settles, it'll be nice and clear. And
look at that, sexy robots will be on the marketplace in 2026. Oh my goodness, that's what we need, is sexy robots.
Oh,
have
all
you ever
that's
heard
coming.
of the book, A Brave New World? babies are grown in a lab in it. They're designated to be alpha, betas, or gammas. And I'm thinking of that book, Dune.
Man, I think they've been grown in labs for thousands of years, if I'm being honest.
Let's be honest here. How creative do you have to be to think, I could artificially inseminate that woman? We know that those people were not cavemen, that they were smarter than us. So I think Starfort people knew all about artificial insemination, and who knows what they could do. Who knows? But in the book Dune, they also were producing babies in a lab. Obviously, I think that do they use plastic surgery to clone all the fake Saddam Husseins? I know they don't have fake Joe Bidens or fake Donald Trumps or fake Hillary Clintons, but the other countries use them. Are those cloned or plastic surgery?
The point
clones,
that I wanted
clones.
to get, as far as the tolerance, those that knew better but would tolerate, this nonsense that is prevalent today, they're the ones that aren't going to tolerate, the Christian attitude.
How are we going to defend the Bible to them in 5 years, RJ, when they're so sick of the Bible? They hate it.
No, but I'm just saying it was brought on through tolerance. That's how the whole, get your foot in the door, and now they're not only in, but they're carting everything away.
How do you like that, Vaara?
They have total control.
We're halfway there. We've identified the problem.
We're more than halfway there.
Yeah, it's progress for sure.
We've identified the problem. They're into their kinky sex, and they do not want to stop with it. And somehow they think worshiping the devil enhances.
Well, adrenochrome, the whole marketing of humanity as a commodity. That's where we're at.
We're stuck to those people, man. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Batteries and stock. Energetic currency.
Yeah.
Let's just read about them. Let's just get. Here's who
we're going overtime, folks.
Here's who they are. Okay. Everybody did it. The kings of the earth who committed sexual immorality and lived in luxury with her will weep and wail at the sight of the smoke being raised from the fire that consumes her in fear of her torment. They will stand at a distance and cry out, woe, woe, to the great city, the mighty city of Babylon, for in a single hour your judgment has come. Now we get to this part here. This is unbelievable, right? And the merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her, because there is no one left to buy their cargo of gold, silver, precious stones, purple, fine linen, silk, scarlet, all kinds of citron wood, and every article of ivory, precious wood, bronze, iron, marble, cinnamon spice, boom, 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 and the souls of men, slaves, and the souls of men. There's a part in the Bible where it talks about people who sold a girl for a bottle of wine, and then they drank it because they don't give a shit about the human souls. And that's the Bible we're going to defend, because it's true. And they're not the ones that are going to be happy. They're looking at their life as not one word, thought, and deed will not be revealed before every other soul and before God. And they'll see themselves drinking that bottle of wine. Slaves have souls. And who's to say whether the soul of the beast goes up or down? If there's a 50% chance the soul of the beast, the dog, could go up, I say you treat it like it goes up. Let's lean that way. Let's live that life. Let's live that life you were looking for in your esoteric age, Vaara.
Information. That's all I'm gonna say, man. Information is the greatest weapon, I think, and defense method we have. Uh, it's like the saying goes, the pen is mightier than the sword. You know, you can write all this bullshit in the science and the history and the school system, and there you go. You don't have to raise a finger. You don't have to kill anybody with guns or swords because you've indoctrinated everybody and everybody's brainwashed with information. It's that
They'll
simple.
do it to themselves. Yep.
Do you do any writing or anything like that, Vaara?
I'm trying to, it's something I recently discovered. Like, I've had this problem in my life, most of my adulthood, like trying to find a steady source of income out of something that I enjoy doing. Bartending is so, I'm so done with it, as a, regular job, going there as a slave, working for nothing, basically. So yeah, I'm trying, different projects and ideas, and writing is one of those things. Yeah, I get creative and
I had to put it away for a while too, and I was went through that, like, oh my gosh, I'm in my mid-20s and I'm not married. People will think I'm gay, as I was sinfully burning through girlfriend after girlfriend. That was so long ago for me. It's hard to realize that. Same probably for you, RJ, that we already did that. We already did that, and then we settled down, and then we lived our
Burn
lives.
that bridge, yeah.
Right. And now we're both retired. Just living. I specifically retired at age 54. Was called by the Lord to spread of my equity of like approximately over 1 million of what I could have had access to and put it into this ministry, because this is not our home, and that's what we're going to be teaching. And as we said earlier, this has been only week 5, and as long as the Lord wills, we're committed to taking these questions from Vaara. And as you can see, looking forward, talking about the tree of life, that's hard things. We talked about the North Pole tonight. Those are hard things. Sexy robots.
Mm-hmm.
And to get back to your numerology of, I retired a year ago last month at the age of 666, 66 years, 6 months.
Wow.
Because
oh my goodness, RJ, you're the craziest.
Because that's the bracket of where I fall into. They're inching it up, till 70. But my birth, that put me at 666 for
That's
Social
crazy.
Security. For Social Security.
If we had all the technology, we could do
What are
really
you
cool
playing?
things, man.
Are you sharing? Oh, there you go. Yeah, I remember this one.
What the hell am I looking at?
Fast.
I thought by now I'd walk the moon and ride a car without no tires and have a robot run the vacuum and date a girl made out of wires.
And date a girl made out of wires?
No, things don't change that much.
The wires were rubber.
By now we should discover just how to love each other. Like Matthew's Robot Man, yours said killed again. I thought by now we'd live in space and eat a pill instead of dinner and wear a gas mask on our face. A president of female gender.
When are we going to get a president of female gender?
Though progress marches on, new day. Our troubles still grow strong. And my expectancies become my fantasies. You turn my blood to sand, the earth stands still again. My hopes are running low, things moving much too slow. There's no space in up above, we're still far from love, so very far from love.
I thought by now we live in space and eat a pill instead of dinner.
I thought by now we'd build a dome around the world, control the weather.
What?
In every house a picture pole.
It already exists.
A little better. But some things never change. Replay. You're still acting strange. No way that I can see. This way we will be free. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and done. I thought by now I'd go and ride a car without no tires and have a robot of the lions and have it till they had a fire. I thought by now we live in a state.
Oh,
And need a pill
that one didn't make it.
Trial by air, or in the air.
I thought by now we built a dome around the world, control the weather. In every house a picture phone. Communicate on the
We're all having fun here. There's crazy lyrics and
One of my
cool
favorite
footage,
Christian
man.
bands from the 1980s called Daniel Amos put that song out, and it was kind of made for us who were, late teens, early
MTV,
20s
yeah.
around the 1980s when it's the 80s. Where's our rocket pack? Because from being born in the late 50s, mid 50s, in RJ's case, we were promised a world where we were going to get cars without tires, rocket packs like James Bond, and this was all going to happen quickly. It never
Where's my self-lacing shoes at?
happened.
God damn it.
33 is the master number.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
It's up to you.
All right, I
decide.
wonder what we're going to
Find it
do.
out.
What are you going to do when you have to do episode number 33 of coming up with questions? That's
Oh,
or
man.
even next is number 6.
Yeah. If it even, let's see, what day is that? 24, of course. It is the 6th. It's
RJ,
the
any
6th day on the
closing
6th.
comments? We could have
All
gone
makes
longer.
sense.
We could have
All
gone
makes
shorter, but I'm
Well,
afraid we're going to have to wait.
Yeah, we're 10 minutes from the 120 mark.
He's waiting for a reference to the Back to the Future movies. They had a hoverboard in Back to the Future number 2.
Yeah. We're like 5 years behind.
No, the feminists are getting blamed. You ruined the Western women. Yep, you made them stop wearing a head covering, and then everything would have been all right. Any final words? We're wrapping it up, RJ. Thanks for turning on the clocks. That's cool.
And that animated one about the Star Fort of used to be, or they changed the name from what is it? Yeah, I'll think of it. Go
The
ahead.
Liberty. Fort
No,
Liberty.
no, not that one. That
Fort Vaara.
not.
You got your own fort, Sheriff.
Whiteys, blacks, Jews, crackers.
You know what? You need to practice this. This is a famous quote with a Southern accent. It's from the movie with Paul Newman. I forget the name of it, but Strother Martin is in it, and at one point he says in a southern drawl, "What we have here is a failure to communicate." And the last thing that we want is ever to have is a failure to communicate.
You're a failure to communicate, boy.
You got any final words you want to wrap it up with? You want to give us some sort of preparation for where you want to go next week?
Well, I was referencing Curtis Mayfield there, man. That's one of my favorite artists of all time.
Curtis Mayfield. Refresh my memory. Give me just the
Move
melody.
On Up.
Give me the melody, and I'll try to fill in the name that.
Move on up towards your destination. I think that's his most well-known songs. Move on up. It's like good old school soul dance.
Late 70s. Late 70s,
70s, 80s, yeah.
Okay. I never could understand. Everybody always likes that guy that does the jam and with the piano jazz, the Ramsey, and I just don't get it. I guess I'm not that smart as they all pretend to be because I don't get it. RJ, any final words, brother?
Istanbul, that one about Istanbul and Constantinople.
Oh, have you ever seen that one? It's kind of funny because
save that one for episode 6. Is right.
Well, the name of the band that is called They Might Be Giants, and that's another one. I don't need to show the
disclaimer,
the copyright thing again, but you got to check this out.
This is good animation.
That's a viola. The favorite globe. Hey, this isn't the one that we like.
I like it.
Yeah, it is.
That's the song, but I like this one.
Okay.
Yeah, Punch Up.
Yeah, this is the one with the animations.
That's the Maltese Falcon.
Looks like Daffy Duck.
Yeah.
Did you know that Constantinople used to be called Istanbul?
Oh, this might fucking what is Tiny Toons?
Constantinople now turns to light on a moonlit night. Every gal in Constantinople lives in Istanbul. The Constantinople, she'll be waiting in Istanbul. Even old New York was once New Amsterdam. Why they changed it, I can't say. People just liked it better that way. So take me back to Constantinople. No, you can't go back to Constantinople. Been a long time gone. Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. Istanbul. Istanbul, even old New York was once New Amsterdam. Why they changed it, I can't say. You just liked it better that way. Istanbul was Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, the Constantinople.
You don't like that one, you'll probably love this one. This used to be one of my favorite bands.
When you were languishing in rooms I both file you in.
I think you're supposed to be reading this.
When the wind sat down in funnel form and pulled you in. I don't need to walk around in circles, walk around in circles.
There's your
walk
Vesica
around
picus.
in circles, walk around
Piscus, as some people say.
don't need to walk around in circles, walk around in circles, walk around in circles.
They brainwash us. I'll never know. Walk to the left.
When the ghostly dust of violence chases everything.
We're stuck in some kind of a loop.
Just recognize you're the thing. I don't need to walk around in circles, walk around in circles, walk around in
Use your
circles.
dodecahedron, your chestahedron.
Yeah.
Walk around in circles, walk around in circles, walk
That's the
around
clock
in
right there.
circles.
That's where we live.
I can't sign out that you made the move. It has gone and gone to dogs. Lay down on the floor. For the
Very interesting animation.
Same
El
band.
Caban. Yeah.
How do they keep us entertained? The only thing you could do is get a Danica, a girl race car driver that's sexy, and then that'll get the crowd even more excited. Sex it up.
We might as well be coming in on conveyor.
Old dudes love to look at sexy girls too, and they got the money.
Betty Boo.
This is from Nickelodeon. They took a song from Soul Coughing and made it for children. This is for
Very
children.
provocative.
This is for Nickelodeon in the 1990s, 80s. Nickelodeon made this for my children's generation.
Imagine how many people are gonna complain about this these days. Oh my god. Back in the good old days.
And I'm just saying that this was kind of a very adult band.
Some kind of verb, some kind of moving thing, something unseen, some hand is motioning to rise, to rise, to rise.
So my clocks are chiming on my end.
Right, that's a good place to wrap it up.
It's entertaining. I don't know how educational it is, but it's
right. We're driving the people away, that's for sure, man. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. It's a flat Earth nation. You know, we're never going to tell you anything else. Why would we? We're trying to prove we have your best interest at heart. Nakame, aloha, arrivederci, ciao, sayonara, auf Wiedersehen.